Look at this beautiful morel. It's a giant. And there's so much about this that I want to tell you. First of all, this came up in a new spot here in my forest because of logging operations that happened over the winter. If you saw the video that I made last week, where I was talking about a morel that popped up in my front yard right beside one of the pines that was cut, well, this is more about that, but there's so much more that I want to tell you. It's really exciting. First, though, just look at the size of this. I just picked another one seconds ago from another patch not far from here, and look at the difference in size between these two. And this one is typical size. It's not quite fully grown. It just popped up yesterday, but so did this, because this is in the middle of this trail where I'm working right now, and I stumbled upon it this morning as I was heading down this trail. And I did the same yesterday, and it wasn't here. So look at how much faster it grew. It was the same with this one. This came up not far from here at the same time. Anyways, there's more I want to tell you about this mushroom that has to do with all of this, and this one as well. They both came up in places just like that one from the prior video, new spots where they haven't been growing before. They're coming up in all of these new places because the main area, which is just back that way, because this is the main trail that comes right off the driveway, all of these pines got cut along this row beside the driveway and going right down into the forest here at the entrance of the main trail. None of them came up here before. They only came up in the driveway section. And I think that's because the driveway is, because of its nature, it's being disturbed whenever vehicles are coming up and down the driveway. And I think that the disturbing of the substrate, because there it's gravelly, but it's all sand here. So here it's just sand, nothing but sand, well, and pine needles. There's pine needles everywhere. But here it's sand, just sand. Over there it's sand and gravel. But either way, because of the constant disturbance, I think that's what made it more suitable for the morels to pop up. But now that all of those pines have been cut, they stopped coming up there. So you may be asking, well then, why is there this beautiful giant right here? And there's another one right there that's not quite as big, but it's still plenty nice. And look, it's bigger than this one too. So these are being sent up with much vigor, where this is uphill in a drier spot. They definitely, it's a very finicky thing about morels. They like a spot that's kind of wet, kind of dry. They're sort of like Goldilocks mushrooms. Not too hot, not too cold, not too wet, not too dry. Anyways, we are sitting right beside the one and only red pine that I left. In this whole area, there are none other than this. Everyone else was cut. And so, is it a coincidence that these beautiful big morels are right underneath that one and only that was left? And where all of those ones that were cut, including the main strip over there, that is where the morels would have been found. I've been here, this is my 11th year here. And for the last 10 years, I have only found morels in that area, that strip beside the driveway. Nowhere else. And what a coincidence that this year, and we've had a really bad spring. It's been a very unpleasant spring. We had a very late winter, and then the spring hasn't been great. And it's dry. It's always dry here, but it's been a dry winter. The vernal pools didn't even completely fill. That's another story. But the point is, it hasn't been a great year for morels, but there are so many coming up. In the week since I made that other video, I have found more morels than I found any other year, and it's been a bad year. So here's the point, is I was expecting, as I said in prior videos, for things to change. But I thought that this spring, that they would still be in the traditional spot. And it would probably be the only year. In fact, I thought that maybe there would be no morels this year at all, if none came up there. And I thought eventually they'll start coming up somewhere else, because there are still plenty of pines, just not in that main drag anymore. In fact, I just found another one behind my back here, off in that direction, right beside red pines and white pine. So I'm kind of hopeful about that. But my point is, I wasn't anticipating this change to happen this spring. But, as is the case with pretty much all predictions that humans make, it was wrong. Because none came up there, not a single one. And yet they've been coming up everywhere else in such huge numbers, more than I've ever had in any other year. And the season is not over. Look at what I just found here. And these aren't the only ones I found this morning. I've found plenty more in other spots where they've never come up before. Always near the pines. But again, every other year they've only been on that main drag. Now, none on the main drag and plenty everywhere else. So, the big message in this, here's a tiny little spruce cone, but here's a pine cone, here's a pine cone, here's a pine cone, here's a pine cone. They love to be wherever there's pine cones, and obviously it's not a coincidence that it kind of looks like a pine cone. Anyways, the big message here is, look at how quickly the morel network got reconfigured. All of this logging happened 6 months ago. No, well, 5 months ago. And this is the first morel season. Here we are in May. So this is the first morel season since everything got completely changed. All of the pines in the main drag are now gone. And the morels are now coming up everywhere else. And none there. Zero. That's amazing. I'm continuously amazed at the wonders of nature and how little we understand the way that things work, the way things really work. Adaptation is the norm. And not only that, but obviously it's a very flexible, dynamic, responsive, and fast-acting system. To see this happen so quickly, it's amazing. Really, think about it. The entire fungal network for this forest was rewired in no time. Because it certainly couldn't have happened in the dead of winter when the ground was frozen. Nothing's going to be happening then. And so all of this happened in a matter of, at most, a couple of months. Everything was changed, everything was reconfigured, and up come these beautiful morels in new places where they never have before. Wow. So, I have to get back to work. I wanted to make this video longer and talk some more and about other things as well, but I just don't have the time. I cover them like this because it's a hot, very hot and sunny day, and by covering them like this, it stops them from getting dried out by the sun. And it makes it really easy to find them for picking later. So I picked this one just to show you the difference. I'm going to throw this in the refrigerator right now and add it to supper later, along with these beauties. It's going to be a great supper tonight with lots of morels. And I suspect there will be a few more days yet of this amazing goodness, because I've been finding them every day for the last week, and today is no exception. Anyways, I don't have time. I've got so much work to do, and unfortunately I don't have time to make videos. This video has already been way too long. So if you want to hear more of this, subscribe. All kinds of other interesting things I'm going to show you when I have time to make more videos.